Super Draco here, and welcome back to Why, the show where I don't always have a good answer for that question. So we're going to continue our gyarados. So again, I say this every video, and it probably is annoying to some people, but either way. So when I build on this channel, I build Lego, not Lego, or Lego-like product. It's a chill affair where I'm just going to talk to you. Sometimes I do channel updates, sometimes I just ramble about various topics. And today's going to be a ramble day. So, pardon me, still getting over being sick, and this is the third video in the batch, because I do these in batches, so I'm seeing how much I can get done before my voice starts to go. So anyway, in a previous video I talked about a theory I had about the film The Fly. And I thought, well, let's do another film theory. This one is about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The T-1000 is, the main villain, a robot made out of liquid metal constantly pursuing them until they destroy it at the end. Spoilers. Honestly, that movie came out in, I believe, 1993, so if you haven't seen it now and somehow haven't been spoiled, honestly, that's probably worth some applause. So anyhow, my theory, at the end of the movie, they destroy the T-1000, again, spoiler warning, by dumping him in a vat of liquid steel, of molten steel. And it melts the T-1000 until it ceases functioning. But I was watching a reaction video, and one of the reactors, because sometimes I like seeing reaction videos. I'm not a big reaction video person, but occasionally I enjoy it. And they commented about the T-1000. Why is it the robot riding a motorcycle up a staircase? Well, I mean, the simple answer is it's a visual spectacle because Terminator 2 is a movie, it's a film, it's meant to entertain the audience. But then ignoring the fact that it's a film and it's subject to budget concerns and filmmakers' intent, but also stuff to keep the audience invested. But there is an interesting line of thought there. Why would it ride the motorcycle up the stairs, even though it would probably be faster and more effective to go up the stairs on foot? And I thought about it, and then it occurred to me. It's because the T-1000's programming was damaged right before, I guess you'd say, right around the middle of the film or movie. And what I mean is after the mall battle, the T-1000's pursuing John's motorcycle in a semi-truck, and then the T-800 blows out its tire so he can't turn, causing it to crash, and then the semi-truck explodes. And I thought about this because that was the longest in the entire film or movie that the T-800 or T-1000 was disabled, was after that explosion. And then I got to thinking about it. What if that explosion actually damaged the T-1000? Because extreme temperatures, extreme hot and extreme cold, can damage the T-1000. Because if you think about the movie up to that point, he had been laser focused, behaving like a cold, calculating machine. The T-1000 had only shown killing one person on purpose. The only other person it had killed up to that point was that guy in the hallway that was just caught in the crossfire between him and the T-800. But then, following that explosion, T-1000 kills his adopted parents, and his dog, and there is actually logic to that. But then afterwards, when they're at the psych ward, the T-1000 disguises itself as the floor. And when the security guard is getting a coffee, the T-1000 mimics him, kills him, and then hides his body. But then when it approaches the security desk, instead of using the guard's appearance to bypass security, it reverts back to its normal disguise as the regular police officer. Why did it go to all that trouble to dispose of the security guard if it was just going to use its regular disguise to sneak in, since the police were there to interview Sarah Connor about the T-800 at the mall? Because, in a nice little bit of continuity, they recognized him from the police station massacre from the first Terminator movie in 1983 or 84, whatever. So, what was the point of killing the security guard and taking his identity, but then not using it? But then following that, when he phases around the bars as he's pursuing him, the T-1000's gun gets caught on the bars and it has to dislodge it. Which, if the T-1000 is a machine that is functioning entirely correctly, how did it forget it had the firearm? But then as the movie goes, from that point on, the T-1000 is always lagging behind them when it was almost perfectly in lockstep with them, despite not having all the information the T-800 did, because John Connor in the future reprogrammed that one and probably gave it a bunch of additional, it probably gave it information to help it out. That's just a little bit of headcanon on my end, but it seems more likely than not. But suddenly, now the T-1000 is lagging behind, despite them, not killing people and doing this, and in the case of Sarah and John, needing to eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom. Although I guess the T-800 also needed to eat food to maintain its organic disguise. I believe that was in canon, that they had to eat food. I'll have to double check on that later. But then, so following that, the T-1000 gets to Miles Dyson's house after them, and then goes to Cyberdyne. When it gets to Cyberdyne, the T-1000, instead of, running really fast, because in all honesty, it can run just as fast as a slow-moving automobile, or nearly, which, a fun fact for everyone, during the scene where the T-1000 ran after John Connor's dirt bike, Robert Patrick actually caught him several times. They had to redo the take with Robert Patrick slowing down repeatedly because he kept catching up to him. So with the T-1000 being able to move that fast, why would it ride the motorcycle up the stairs? But then, strangely, the T-1000 then hijacks the helicopter immediately after this and doesn't attack the pilot or anything, just tells him to get out. And to this point, the T-1000 has killed everyone that was even remotely in its way that it could dispose of. So why did it suddenly not kill him, but then later it just immediately kills the truck driver on the truck full of liquid nitrogen? But then on top of that, then you get to the steel mill. and then he gets frozen and thawed, and the T-1000 then starts fully malfunctioning. Now, in the original theatrical cut, they edited this out, but they put it back in for the special edition in the director's cut. As the T-1000, after being thawed from the liquid nitrogen, was going, he grabbed a handrail, and his hand actually assimilated to the rail, taking on the colors and getting stuck for a moment. As he walked over a textured platform, his feet and lower legs took on the texturing and the chrome finish of the platform. And then during his scene where he was disguised as Sarah Connor trying to bait out John, John recognized it was the T-1000 because its feet were blending into the floor. And all of this is definitely because of the being thawed and frozen, but in my opinion, it exacerbated the damage from the original explosion because now he's having technical glitches in addition to problems with his programming. But during the steel mill, they have a hand-to-hand fight between Arnold and, between the T-800 and the T-1000. And the reason I think the T-1000's logic system is damaged is because during this fist fight, it doesn't shape its hands into weapons. I mean, why wouldn't it make its hands into spears or spears to pierce right through the T-800's endoskeleton, or through the armor right into its soft internals? Well, they're not soft, but you know what I mean, they're easily damaged. But then, at the end of the fist fight, it impales him on a rod and destroys his power source. And the fact is it knew exactly where his power source was to destroy it. But then, apparently didn't know the T-800 had a redundant power system which allowed him to power back up. So how can he know where his power source is but not know about the redundant power source? So, to me, that seems like he's having a logic malfunction. But then, just thinking about it even more, given that John and the T-800 had been together every time the T-1000 had seen him, why did it never try to take the T-800's appearance? I mean, maybe there was a problem with the complexity of it, with all the damage to Arnold's organic skin and stuff, but I don't know. But like I said, all that together is just my little theory that I think the T-1000 was damaged and it impaired its ability to function properly because, in all honesty, this was most likely just filmmaking stuff to create a spectacle for the audience, something entertaining to watch. And also to stay more in line with the intent of the director. But I actually ran this whole thing through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT actually came back saying my idea actually had merit because it does actually play into one of the core themes of the movie, which was the machines, how the Terminator learned the value of human life. But then if you take that and add that to the T-1000, here we have a whole story arc of the T-1000 going from this perfect killing machine to being more and more flawed and human-like in its thoughts or in its actions and behaviors. But yeah, like I said, that's just something fun I thought of. But Anyhow, so that's all I got for that. So we got about 6 minutes of video left. So I would steal Cody Rhodes' catchphrase and say, "What do you want to talk about?" But I don't think I have. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta go back to my dashboard for a second. Thought I had a new subscriber, but I do not see one. Okay, so I guess we'll just talk about channel stuff for a moment. So coming up after Gyarados will be the next pack of Agora Optimus Prime. After that, I'm kind of going to take a brief hiatus because I've got something big coming after Christmas. And then the Solomon Physalis, when I get it after Christmas or after tax time, that's going to be a big series on It's a Gunpla. Because that build is going to be something else. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Gundam Physalis was probably the first true evil Gundam in the franchise. It was only exclusively piloted by the antagonist of the show. I'm not going to call him a villain because, given if you've seen Zeta Gundam and what happened to the Space Noids after the 1 Year War, his actions were kind of justified, but not in the sense they intended. Which, if that's a discussion somebody wants to hear, I'll gladly articulate why their actions were somewhat justified. But anyway, the Gundam Physalis, the Earth Federation built it in clear violation of the Antarctic Treaty, which was a treaty that the Federation and Zeon had signed banning the use of nuclear weapons. Because the Physalis Gundam was designed with a bazooka that launched a nuclear warhead. And that was its primary function, was to deliver that nuclear warhead. Because other than the nuclear bazooka, the Gundam Physalis only had 2 beam sabers and his head Vulcan. He had no other weapons. Although variants popped up later that have multiple missile launcher system replacing the backpack and the nuclear launcher. And then he also had a shield, which the shield was its overall weakness because the shield actually had an external cooling system in it because of the nuclear launching device. And so most of the first part of Gundam 0083 revolves around the Gundam Physalis was stolen by Zeon remnants, the Delaz fleet, and a Earth Federation special unit, a special ops team trying to recapture it before they could deploy the nuke. And even the Physalis, just his appearance, because it had this, all Gundams have those vents in their face, and well, not all, but almost all do, but the Physalis was in such a way where it just looked like it had this angry grimace. And I believe the Physalis was also the first Gundam, or one of the first Gundams, to have green eyes. At least, I'm going to have to double check that, because I'm probably talking out my butt on that one. So we're going to scratch that from the record. Okay, so we got about a minute and a half of video left. So I guess we actually should talk about Gyarados here. I don't like how the spikes are done. The fact that they don't fit properly, so you have to offset each side, I don't like it. I don't think it looks good, and I think it hurts the profile. The spikes are a nice soft rubbery material, so I'm not worried about them breaking, but I don't like that. And I noticed a problem with the anatomy of the Gyarados. Gyarados is a fish. So his tail fluke is in the wrong direction, because the creatures that have a horizontal tail fluke are mammals, dolphins, and whales. Fish have a vertical one, and the fish that appear to have a horizontal one are typically, those sunfish and flounder, which are actually laying on their side. So anyhow, this is about to wrap up, so thanks for watching. Check out my fantasy story on Fiction Press, and I'll see you for the next part where we build the greatest Pokemon ever.